Welcome back to our special coverage of Night 3 of the Democratic National Convention from Chicago. Thanks for being with us. Tonight, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will officially accept the nomination for vice president, and he is the keynote speaker coming up in a couple of hours. For now, though, let's bring in our political panel, Joel Payne and Hogan Gidley. Joel is a CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist. Hogan is a former White House deputy press secretary for the Trump administration. Joel, good to have you here at the convention. I want to start with you. Tim Walz has a lot of work to do tonight to introduce himself to an American public that maybe didn't know all that much about him before a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. The job is definition. Tim Walz is certainly well known to the people of Minnesota, but to the vast majority, not just of the folks in this hall, but of the American people, he is a new entity. And so you want to define him by talking about the things they've been talking about on the stump. His background as a coach, his relatability, and how he will be a partner for Kamala Harris in governing. And that event that they did yesterday in Wisconsin, I think, was an interesting template for how they're going to do the storytelling. It seems like Tim Walz is really going to focus on a segment of voters that maybe Kamala Harris needs support with. Older voters, voters from the upper Midwest. It feels like Tim Walz is really going to be the ace for the campaign to do that.
Those flannel shirt voters that Barack Obama referenced last night when he said that Walz has some flannels in his closet that look like they've been through some stuff.
That's exactly right. No, Tim Walz is great. And by the way, he is genuine. He's the genuine article. Just ask the folks in Minnesota who he's worked across the aisle with. I think Tim Walz is going to bring down the House tonight. The Obamas really set the bar high yesterday evening, and I think Tim Walz will raise it even higher tonight.
Walz has been talking a lot about joy on the campaign trail. I anticipate he'll probably bring it up again tonight. And Hogan, you know, I first met you when you were a young whippersnapper working on the Mike Huckabee campaign. And he was somebody who brought a lot of joy out onto the campaign trail. He wore the mantle of governor lightly. He liked to joke around, and that was pretty intoxicating for voters. How worried are Republicans about the fact that Democrats are seizing this mantle of joy and happiness, and that's something that will be really appealing to voters in the middle?
Well, the big difference between Mike Huckabee and Tim Walz, obviously, is that Mike Huckabee was authentic and he was real about his joy and happiness, whereas Tim Walz, I think, has been proven to be a liar. He's been proven to be a phony at this point. And Joel's right. It's all about defining your opponent before they're able to define themselves. And in this hall tonight, I have no doubt he's going to give a roaring speech. People are going to be excited about it. The problem is the Trump campaign will immediately seize on a lot of the things he has to say. And I'm sure the flannel plays well, and I understand you want to win a lot of those voters in the Midwest, but chances are those Midwesterners aren't too happy about someone who mandated tampons be in boys' bathrooms, or using taxpayer dollars to give illegal aliens free health care, or send them to college for free as well. Those are things that do not play well. And so all the things that Kamala Harris would like to do with her radicalism from the federal level, Tim has actually done in Minnesota. And you've seen people, angry about the economy, leave and flee to South Dakota, the spike in taxes, et cetera. Big problems there. And so he's going to put on a good show tonight. He's good on the stump. He's very folksy. The problem is, while it's all going to be scripted and delivered well, it's all untrue. And so it's up to the Trump campaign to expose that.
What do you think about that, Joel? The fact that Hogan says that everything about Tim Walz is untrue.
I know Hogan well enough to know he doesn't believe any of that stuff. I think what Hogan is doing is some good spinning, which I appreciate as a comms guy. I will say this, Hogan and I do agree, early definition for candidates that have this low relative name ID is so important. And I'm sure the Trump campaign is going to try to do counter messaging, and they'll have folks like Hogan out here doing it. I think what's interesting about Tim Walz is that he leans into the fight. He likes, he's the happy warrior. And I actually think that that's a real benefit for Kamala Harris to have on the campaign trail, somebody who does not mind taking a punch and throwing a punch. And I think the American people will be very impressed with what they see from Tim Walz tonight.
Hogan, we got new fundraising numbers today from both the Democrats and the Republicans. And in July, which should have been a blockbuster month for the Trump campaign. You had the Republican convention. You were, at a point where the Democrats were reeling after President Biden had that terrible debate. You even had former President Trump survive an assassination attempt, and yet the Democrats, the Harris campaign outraised Trump's campaign 4-1, $200 million to about $50 million. What's going on there?
Well, a lot of those folks were on the sidelines because, as even CBS reported, that Democrat donors were furious that Biden was still at the top of the ticket. And let's not forget, pushing him out and getting rid of him kind of culminated with that exclamation point on Monday night. Here's your last speech. Thanks a lot. Pat you on the head. Now get away. We're trying to, build a convention here. So those donors were on the sidelines waiting around. And it stands to reason they were holding their money for someone who didn't have a pulse and wanted to give it to someone who did have a pulse. So, of course, the Democrats are excited about this. But much like Tim Walz, the more you see of Kamala Harris, the less likable she is. You've seen that because she ran for president, and she was out in front throwing punches at Joe Biden, calling him a racist and a rapist. And none of those things actually landed. In fact, it turned a lot of folks off. So if the Democrats continue to keep her in that bubble, keep her on teleprompter, she's very effective. But once she starts getting off script and getting asked questions, you realize how much of a failure she has been. And the interesting part of this whole convention this week is they're trying to pretend as though they haven't been in power for the last 4 years. The country is facing high prices for gas and groceries, open borders, wars all over the world. They're responsible for all of these things. So it's a weird messaging struggle that they're facing at this convention, trying to pretend as though it's all Donald Trump, it's all his fault. But you guys have been in power. Thus, the American people blame you for the failures, and rightly so.
Hogan Gidley in Washington, D.C., Joel Payne here with me in Chicago. I want to thank both of you for your insights this evening.